When it comes to destroying expensive cars, there are two industries that are experts, the movies and me. What's similar is that the total value of these write-offs is eye-wateringly massive. Let's take a closer look at the top 10 totals, courtesy of the big screen. Now, we all know that there's little more satisfying than an expensive car blowing its value all over the screen in flames. I personally take great pleasure in seeing anyone wasting money. It makes me feel better about using all those pound notes as kindling for this year's fire. But I'm nothing in comparison to the dollars that Hollywood likes to set fire to, which brings us nicely on to our number 10. Lamborghini Huracan, Dr. Strange. The Italian icon is known for outlandish style as well as an outlandish price tag, which is part of the reason why we have two in this list. The one they wrecked for Dr. Strange definitely falls into the brackets of stylish and pricey. The Huracan is the best-selling Lambo of all time with its disgustingly powerful V10 engine. But the one in this movie was nothing more than a martyr to give Benedict Cumberbatch unique arms to go with a unique name. It's an expensive excuse for an origin story, as the cost of destruction here was $165,000. 1969 Mercedes-Benz 280 SE Cabriolet. The Hangover. If you've seen The Hangover, then you've basically seen my bachelor party. Just substitute Las Vegas with Mayfair in London. And yes, of course I know who Mike Tyson is. Who doesn't? He's the fellow who likes to draw on his face, isn't he? In the movie The Hangover, the Mercedes-Benz 280 SE Cabriolet is wrecked at the bachelor party, which reveals everything about the father-in-law. In real life, you're looking at a $165,000 bill for this stunt, which is wild even by bachelor party standards. Still, go hard or go home is what I say, and go home is what my wife says. If you like the Hangover movie, then hit the like button. I assume that's what it's there for. I don't know. I don't get out of the house very often. 1941 Lincoln Continental, The Godfather. The Lincoln Continental is a true icon of the silver screen in one of the most famous movies of all time, The Godfather. If I made you the offer of blowing $290,000 to get your car shot to pieces, then that'll be an offer I wouldn't blame you for refusing. This is the fate of Sonny Corleone's car when he gets ambushed in the movie, as well as himself when he does a great impression of a human bullet sponge. My family dynamic is a little less dramatic. The last death we had in the family was my grandma, and I think she outlived the plague. 1967 Ford Mustang, Eleanor, gone in 60 seconds. They don't make muscle cars like they used to in the 60s, probably because health and safety wasn't really a thing back then. A great example of this is the 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500, a true icon of the American auto industry. This thing had more muscle than a steroid-jacked bodybuilder, but that didn't make it immune from being destroyed. That's exactly what happened to it in Gone in 60 Seconds, which was actually an overestimation of the time it took to write off this Ford. 3 working models were used for filming this Nicolas Cage remake, and only one remained. Therefore, our estimation of $290,000 worth of damage is probably a little downplayed, which is something that Nicolas Cage can never be accused of doing with his acting. Nick Cage is about as transparent as this request for you to comment on my video. What's your favourite Nick Cage movie? Let me know in the comments below, and if it's not The Rock, you're wrong. Aston Martin DBS Casino Royale. Now this is how you crash a car. It makes me proud to be a posh Brit. Bond flips his pristine Aston when avoiding a woman in the road, which is uncharacteristically chivalrous of him. The result is a huge crash, which completely wrecks the car, taking $225,000 with him. Still, this is Bond. That's pocket change to him, or rather MI6. Then again, they never employed him for fiscal responsibility, just to shoot people, shag women, and drink fancy martinis. What a good use of taxpayers' money. So far, we've destroyed around $1 million worth of cars, but that's pennies in comparison to what we've got coming up. It's time to get into some serious written-off dollars that I can finally relate to. Ford Falcon XB GT Coupe, Mad Max 2 Road Warrior. Mad Max is a film all about a post-apocalyptic world, or as we call it today, 5 years' time. One of the movie's series' biggest stars is the Ford V8 Interceptor, also known as a Pursuit Special. It's driven by Max at the end of the first film and for the first half of the sequel. Then the car meets its tragic end, started by a crash, then a full-on explosion caused by a booby trap. This led to $265,000 worth of damage, which would make anyone in the Outback say, "Crikey." Then again, saying that, it's not the worst thing that Mel Gibson has been responsible for. Lamborghini Murcielago LP640, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight was something of filmmaking perfection. My countryman and fellow Porsche Christopher Nolan directed a masterpiece which featured Bruce Wayne taking a hit in his black Murcielago to prevent an assassination attempt. I had an assassination attempt on me once, but it was on my character. Someone once claimed I ate crab, which is ridiculous. For me, it's lobster or nothing. This spectacular crash in this Batman film earned Nolan another award for his trophy cabinet. $354,000 worth of damage. Bravo! RollsRoyce Phantom. Iron Man 2. Speaking of British excellence in America, let's move on to the Rolls-Royce Phantom seen in Iron Man 2, and then part of it unseen as it's destroyed during an F1 race in Monaco. Mickey Rourke's character, Ivan Vanko, uses his electrified whiplash to slice the car up like a knife through butter, also slicing off $495,000 from the movie's bank balance. The last time Rourke got through this kind of money so quickly and recklessly is something we can't talk about on this channel. Aston Martin DB10 Spectre. Moving on to our second most expensive insurance claim now, and it's the Aston Martin DB10 seen in the Bond movie Spectre. This was no ordinary Aston. Not that of course any Aston is ordinary unless it's to me anyway. This DB10 featured a bespoke body previewing the design of the next generation, which inflated the price tag more than my class likes to inflate luxury goods. One of the movie's cars was put up for sale in 2016 and fetched $3.5 million. Now that's enough to shake and stir anyone's tax returns. Porsche 917 Le Mans. Steve McQueen was well known for being associated with vehicles in movies. There's the bike in The Great Escape, Bullet with the Mustang's namesake, and then there was the Porsche 917 in McQueen's pet project Le Mans. But the thing about pets is that they often die. This was the case with both car and the film. In the movie, McQueen turns Porsche's flagship into a bumper car, bouncing off the racing track's protective barriers. It's very reminiscent of when I do a spot of go-karting in the back garden. What's amazing about this is that it was never intended to crash, but after a tire blowout, the stunt driver had no choice but to take the hit. The footage was left in the movie for obvious reasons. If you're going to waste all that money, you might as well leave the shot in. Although its value at the time was modest by today's standards, it's going in as the most expensive car on the list, selling at auction for $14 million in 2017. So we've managed to rack up damage worth $20 million, which is a great effort even for me. I'll leave you to decide whether you thought the carnage was worth it. Clearly the studios did, even if the last car almost bankrupted Steve McQueen. You'd never catch me doing anything like that. I prefer to spend my money on something more sensible, like an extended warranty on my selection of artisan cheeses. What would you like to see a top 10 on? Tell us in the comments. Keep it car and screen related, mind you. I don't want to know your top 10 cheeses, unless you're happy for me to sample them first. For a closer look at the most iconic cars in Hollywood, and to keep the log fire burning in my manor house, please subscribe to this channel. We did a video on how cars are destroyed in movies. Why not watch that? And until next time, stay dashing. And if you can't be dashing, classy will do.